Okay, I will call to order the Rolesville Board of Commissioners and Planning Board, the Rolesville Downtown Development Association meeting. This is a special joint meeting, November 18th, 2025. Just want to thank everybody in attendance. We got all the town board here in attendance. I think the planning board is in attendance totally. And also our DDA, a lot of that group. Thank you, Sheila, for getting your people out tonight. Thanks very much. So tonight is an agenda that just has one item on there, which is this joint meeting with a presentation on that. So I will ask for consideration of agenda from the board. All right, let me see. Michael made the motion and Paul seconded, I think. Yeah, I'll go with that. All right, got that? All right, I got a motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Likewise. Sounds like the ayes have it. Ayes do have it. The motion's approved. So we have an agenda. So with that, just want to thank our consultants for coming out tonight. Appreciate that, and I will turn it over to you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody, again. We know we have, even though the meeting is focused here, we know we have a lot of people here, so what I'll do is, I'll take an extra like 5 minutes, talk a little bit longer. My name is Eric Marsh. I'm the town manager here in the town of Rolesville. I have been in the town of Rolesville for 4 years. November the 19th will be my 4-year anniversary, and I came here as assistant town manager, and then when Kelly transitioned to Goldsboro, I became town manager here, and so I really love this community. It reminds me of my hometown from Roxboro, North Carolina, small town in Person County, about an hour and 15 minutes away. And it is definitely not as thriving as it is here. That's why I love living here instead of living over there with my family. But I really love my time here. And so this meeting is actually one of kind of like 4. So the thing that we've been doing over the last 2 weeks, so last week we had a board retreat. Right, that was on Monday. On yesterday, we had an all-staff meeting with all the employees of the town of Rolesville. It was a very flat meeting, and we got together and we talked about what are the roles of each department, can we continue to work together. We really worked on collaboration and cohesiveness when it comes to running with all the different things we do, from public safety, public works, parks and recreation, budget and finance. You know, we have close to 100, we have over 100 people who work for the town of Rolesville, including our part-time staff. And so that was the first half of the day. The second half of the day, the department heads, we got together, did a deep dive onto this very same strategic plan that was approved last year. And we worked through what do our departmental work plans look like that support this strategic plan. This strategic plan was passed last year in 2024. The vision of Rolesville, the vision that was created in the strategic plan came about from engaging the community through community cafes. We had interactive meetings at the fire station. Also, we had meetings with the board and also met internally with the staff. And so on the front page, the vision for that's set forth with the strategic plan is that Rolesville is a dynamic, tight-knit community that fosters genuine connection and embraces change while maintaining a unique local character. And our mission is to provide the highest quality of service in an efficient, cost-effective, and courteous manner, focusing on safe, livable, sustainable community with a strong sense of belonging. The values, which are listed in the blue, are accountable, collaborative, ethical, excellent, inclusive, and transparent. I encourage everybody to go through this. If you didn't get a copy, it's on our website. It's been posted there since last year. But if you flip to the back, these are some of the things that drive like all the many things that we're working on with the town, the high-level initiatives. These are the things that ground our CIP. When we say we want to build, we're working on building a fire station, working on building a police station. We're looking at affordable housing and things of that nature. And that is through the survey and the community cafes, we learned that residents value the following. Number 1, small town quality of life and housing affordability. And then also, there are some additional considerations around housing diversity and navigating growth and preservation. And so if you go through this strategic plan, which everybody has a copy of, I know that the board, they see it all the time. It's literally in front of them at every single meeting, and all the things that they hold us accountable to. They literally come to us during our budget times and even our meetings with staff, and they say, is this supporting connected communities? Is this supporting abundant amenities? Is this supporting intentional growth? And so intentional growth is growth happening for us, not to us. You know, there's a feeling that some people have in growth, and so we make sure that all these things are beneficial. And also, when it comes to our operations and the human asset aspect, which is the staff, the personnel, the people, the public servants that are here, the police officers and such that are here running with all these different responsibilities, does it promote a strong organization, right? So this is the strategic plan, and what all of the workshops have been laying out, and what we'll do today is similar to what we did with all of our staff across the whole town, in which we do a refresher and we say, you know, what is strategic planning? You know, what is design thinking? How should we do problem solving? You know, we get a lot of ideas, we hear a lot of things from our community, and they come in and we say, how can we look at these things and make them digestible and say, who can run with this? What does it look like for us to collaborate to do that, right? And so in this room, at these front three tables, we have our town board, who you all know, one newly elected commissioner who has not been sworn in yet. Well, we welcome her to the table as well. We have our planning board, and they are the ones that are here. They're helping vet. They are our subject matter experts and our community voices to help us vet these different things that come in from applicants. Then we have our RDDA, our Rolesville Downtown Development Association. They've been doing great work within some of the changes you've been seeing, shifts you've been seeing with facade grants, awards to When Our Strip Malls Day. We got some surprises coming because we got some more good news, but we're not gonna spill that. But the thing is that there are people that are here. We're applying for grants. Like last week, for example, we went before the Raleigh Visitors Bureau, and myself and Stephen and two partners from our community and our Parks and Recreation Director, we pitched for $3.6 million to go towards the farm, which is the multi-sport complex that'll be happening out on the other side of 401, right? They asked us, what if we can give you more money? I said, what if you can pay for the whole thing? It's 7.6. And so, but these are things that we are actively pursuing every single day, and they support this strategic plan and the engagement we spent a year doing last year, right? And so I don't want anybody to come. I know that you all are here to hear about the vision, but there's not a shifting that's happening with the vision. This is about how can we work with them just like our departments work together. How can we get these people in the room? We do this every other year. We had a joint meeting a year and a half ago, but the RDDA was new, and so they didn't exist a year and a half ago. And so we bring these volunteers, because none of you are salaried, and you know y'all got jobs, y'all have kids, y'all have families that y'all are giving y'all time, stepping away from right now. This is the time we take out for them to sit and work together and get to know each other, as well as revisit the thing that keeps us, that drives our heart every single day, which is the conversations that we continue to have, the concerns we continue to have continue to hear from our ever-growing and changing community. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. In front of you all, they'll run through the slide, which will lay out the agenda, but they'll talk through strategic planning, and they will talk through how, if you all are seeing any barriers to accomplishing what you all see or feel like we should be doing, and things of that nature. And then we're talking through different tools and ways y'all can align more closely, and the things that you're thinking about and talking about on, I'd say, a daily basis, honestly. Because y'all definitely not talking every other week. Y'all talking all the time. We're in emails all the time as well. And so this is about collaboration. The reason why we're not in the chambers is the same reason why we had a flat meeting in our all staff yesterday. I did not have on my town manager name tag. I had on my Eric name tag. And that's why everybody here has on a handwritten name tag, because this is one of these flat meetings that we just kind of come together. We take off the titles and we say we love Rolesville, and we love the work that we're doing, and so how can we continue to work and collaborate more to make this happen? And so I just wanted to give that kind of long rundown, kind of set the context of things. This is that time of year for us as an organization and as a team. We're coming down into the holiday season. We have our all staff meetings, we have our potlucks, We have all these different things to keep on, to ensure that we're working more closely together for all the different moving pieces that each one of these teams right here are responsible for. And so I hope that helps set some context and set the tone for the evening. And so I will turn it over to FountainWorks. A little bit about FountainWorks. They are basically family now because they helped us with the refresh of our strategic plan 4 years ago, and then the complete revamp of our strategic plan. And so having a partner, and a consulting partner, or partner, extended Rolesville family like them, they're familiar faces to staff. They're familiar faces to some of you in the community. They're familiar faces to our board as well to help us keep working through. And they always do a great job of setting the tone and bringing the tools to spark the conversation, to pull the information out. And they'll talk to you all about the deliverable. I know this is a big compliment, right? I love y'all guys. But, and they'll talk about the deliverable and how they're gonna just basically work to pull this information out and get that thing back to you all. And then that'll be shared out to the community as well. Be capturing the conversation and different thoughts and ideas as well. There won't be a public comment tonight, but we always encourage everybody, because that applies to the all of you that come to the meetings regularly. The third Tuesday, which is the second meeting of the month, doesn't have a public comment. The public comment is in the first meeting of the month, and so that'll be December the 2nd, I think. And so we welcome anybody to come in and express your concerns about anything as well. But this is definitely one of these kind of take the titles off and work together sessions. I'll turn it over to FountainWorks. I'll let them introduce themselves. Thank y'all in advance for walking us through this evening.
Quite an introduction. I'm excited to be here. I'm Bo Mills. I'm with a firm called FountainWorks, and I'm here with my colleague Danielle. And we were talking about this earlier. Danielle, this is like what, your 5th, 6th, 7th time since you've been working with the town here. So we're really excited to be with you all. The mayor and I were talking earlier. I retired from the League of Municipalities last year after a career working at the state, local, and federal level in Washington, D.C., and here in Raleigh throughout the state. So it's really an honor to be here. I'm a native of North Carolina and live here in Wake County, so I'm excited to be in Rolesville. It's really an honor to be a part of this. And one of the things we're going to do today is this is really the team. This is the team that's going to make downtown Rolesville what it can be and what you want it to be. So we're really excited to be part of the conversation with you all. Our goal here is to have an interactive conversation. We've broken you all up, as you know, around the room. You have the council members, the planning board, and RDDA all sitting together, and we're going to work together. We're going to have some interaction. We're going to give you a chance to do. Danielle and I put together a really fun program. Hit the agenda real quick, and I'll go through it real quick. So we're going to talk about. We're going to get a presentation from Michael in just a few minutes. But what we're going to do is also talk about, this is a long journey that you're beginning, so we're going to talk about some of the tools that you're going to be using, talking about the use of strategic planning. Then we're going to talk about human design, and we're going to do a nice little fun exercise with you all. We won't have lunch. We'll just take a quick break, and then we'll have another series where we talk about where you are. Yes, sir.
We can't see that from here. I don't know if too many people that can see it, but it says. Is it possible for us to see it? Oh, we can't speak it.
This is a work session. This is a work session for the council. I don't know.
Could we shift? We shouldn't project onto that. I'm just need to.
I'm just kind of, we'll walk through things so that you'll know what it is. I don't know that we can move everything around to share it. If that's okay with you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. Then we'll talk about how you prioritize ideas, align for action. And one of the goals, the primary goal here is at the end of the day, we're going to talk about a vision statement for this group. You all working together, this team that's going to make it happen for the town. So that's one of the things that we're going to walk out of this meeting with, talking about your vision, creating a vision statement for this group. This is the first step in a journey that this group is going to be doing together. And you're going to engage with stakeholders over time. You're going to work with the business community. You're going to work with And I know Eric and Steve and the team in the town are thinking about grants that you can apply for. There's a variety of different things that this group is going to be helping guide the effort for downtown. One of the things we want all the folks on the planning board and the town commission and the Downtown Development Association working together here today, listen to each other to understand. So actively listen and understand each other, contribute and support each other's effort to contribute in the conversation. That's always an important thing. Be part of helping your teammates gather their thoughts and share with you. And the most important thing is remain engaged throughout. One of the things that we often happen, and I don't think it'll happen here with this group, but the laptops pop up and people start doing things, they're checking their email. Everybody's gonna focus together here. So that's the game plan there. I thought it would be helpful, and I think this is okay with Danielle, we'll just quickly go around the room and have everybody introduce themselves and who you're representing here today on the planning board or town commission. And I'm gonna ask you, as part of introducing yourself, give us one word that describes what you hope to see for downtown Rolesville. One word that describes what you want to see for downtown Rolesville. So your name, who you're with here tonight, and one word that describes what you want to see. So it's important, think about that for a minute, what you want to see. Who wants to go first? Somebody who can come up right here. All right, the guy at the front always gets to go first. There you go.
Jim Schwartz on the planning board, and I would say community.
Community.
Mike Moss, planning board. One word,
One
still
word.
Jim's community.
That's cheating.
I'm Ronnie Kern, I'm mayor here. I would say parking.
Parking.
Donnie Lawrence, planning board, yeah, parking, beautification of downtown.
Frank Pierce, planning board, I'd like to see it be quiet.
Michael Paul, town commissioner. I like to see it flowing.
So movement. Yes, that's right.
Jackie Wilson, RDDA, golly,
One word.
peace.
April Sneed, Town Commissioner, togetherness.
Lisa Harris, RDDA, gathering.
Lisa Kane, RDDA, and my word would be thriving.
And Austin Town Board, engagement.
Billy Perry, RDDA, I would say charm.
Charm or charming?
Sheila Sutton, RDDA also. I have more than one, sorry. Walkable, beautiful downtown Rolesville with restaurants, other places, and thriving, successful businesses.
All right. We just got our vision statement, so we're done. Our work here is done.
Linwood Long, commissioner. Sheila took all the words that you could use, so I would add modernization.
Modernization.
Hi, I'm Jen Burnett. I am the newly elected but not yet sworn in council member. And I've been working with Lisa on the RDDA subcommittee, I guess we'll call it. But no, community engagement.
Jared Verstegen with the Planning Board, Safety. Paul Voga, Town Commissioner, I would say family.
Tisha Lowe with Planning Board, thriving.
Tony Kenyon, RDDA, equitable.
Well, thank you. I really like that. I appreciate that. I learned a lot about all of you already. But there's definitely a sense of people coming together in your downtown. I think that's one of the things that's really exciting about every downtown. It's the heart and soul. One of the things that's really helpful with a group like this is just sort of establish where we are today. And we're really fortunate to have Michael here, who's going to sort of share with you where things stand with downtown Rolesville today. So it'll be a good foundation for the conversations we're going to have. So I'll invite Michael to come on up and go through. I've looked through his slides. You're going to enjoy this. This is really helpful, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Again, Michael McFarland, I'm the Economic Development Director here with the town of Rolesville. Happy to be here tonight. Just wanted to share some highlights, share some data, share some trends about the economic landscape here in Rolesville to kind of spark some conversation for us before we get into our discussions. So in 2018, just to provide a little bit of background, the town drafted a vision plan for Main Street, which served as the impetus for the current construction project that you see outside today. This vision plan had 5 goals. You can see them up here on the screen. Create an equitable Main Street for everyone in every mode of transportation. Promote diverse housing stock for multiple age groups and income levels. Celebrate the town with clear gateways coming into and out of town, so you know you've entered downtown, you know you've entered Main Street, the center of Rolesville, and you know you've exited. Reestablish a town center. I think that's that walkable community that Sheila mentioned. And then retain and respect the small town feel. And so I think this is an opportunity tonight it's a step towards updating maybe this vision that was set in 2018. A lot have changed since then. That's 7 years ago. I think we want to see if these goals still make sense to us. Would we like to change them? Possibly set a new vision. So, looking at our, so the town recently completed a comprehensive plan, and part of that comprehensive plan, comprehensive land use plan, was a community survey in which I think about 236 individuals participated. And one of the questions that was asked in that plan was participants were asked to rate their top 3 concerns in the community. The most common concern at the top here you can see preserving the natural environment, streams, open spaces, and wetlands, with 59% of responses. But the second largest concern was maintaining or creating a vibrant Main Street or downtown area, and 51% of the respondents, as you can see, mentioned that. This is consistent with other survey feedback as well, which indicates that the health of Rolesville's Main Street and downtown will be critical to the community's health overall. And similarly, participants also mentioned wanting more restaurants, more shopping experiences, mentioned leaving Rolesville to go to Wake Forest or Raleigh for amenities and things like that. So there was a desire and a sense that we wanted to bring some of these things here to Rolesville. Thinking about the Main Street project, since its founding, Rolesville's Main Street was formerly US Highway 401, right? If you've lived here long enough, you know that. Primarily accommodated regional automotive traffic, lined with highway-oriented businesses. You see the fast food restaurants, the gas stations, and things like that, auto service shops. And in 2016, with the completion of the bypass, that allowed us to start to reclaim our Main Street and begin thinking about how our Main Street can become a true downtown experience. This current Main Street project that we're all experiencing outside, that's a $23 million investment by the town for the future of Rolesville's downtown, trying to create that safer, walkable, more successful, and more attractive Main Street for residents, businesses, and visitors. And the project is really a realization of that vision plan set in 2018, which had overwhelming community support at the time to create a destination and promote that walkability and bikeability and downtown revitalization. So we're excited to have that construction that's anticipated to be completed in the spring, and then that'll also open up more opportunities for us along Main Street to initiate new maintenance and improvement projects. Just a little bit about our population growth. As we all know, Rolesville is positioned in the Greater Triangle region. This is great for us, location, location, location. At the same time, we enjoy that smaller, genuine community. We're close enough to Raleigh, we get to enjoy all those amenities 15, 30 minutes away, yet at the same time, we're kind of set back enough and have that genuine community. Rolesville's population continues to grow, as does that of Wake County, Franklin County, Johnston counties. We've grown about 202% over the past 5 years, or over the past 15 years, and we're now estimated to be just over 12,000. And our population is wealthy and educated. You know, we have higher than average median income levels and higher than average home values, higher than average education levels and college degrees. A little bit about some of the growth. Here's kind of in a little more detail the neighborhoods. Some of you will recognize. Over 5,500 new housing units have been approved and are at some stage of the plan review process or are under construction, are anticipated to be built over the next 5 years. So some of these are under construction, some have not started yet, but are in the plan review stage. So you can see that total number down there, 5,666 new homes coming over the next 5 to 10 years. Are we ready? What does this mean? This expected population growth, doubling the current 12,000 population likely in the next decade, would be expected to translate into a many-fold increase in the demand for commercial products and services in Rolesville. So think about it, 2 times as many cars, 2 times as many gas stations for the cars, 2 times as many restaurants for those of us who want to go out to eat, 2 times as many dentist's office, all those extra teeth, 2 times as many storage units for everybody's stuff, 2 times as many school seats for the students. So just some things to think about. Currently, Rolesville has plenty of residential development, like I just mentioned and we just pointed out. Marcus Kinraid with the Wake County Tax Office said communities should be striving for about a 70 to 30% ratio of residential to commercial development when it comes to tax revenue that towns receive. Even a 60-40 balance would be nice. So that's 60 or 70% residential to about 25, 30, 40% commercial tax base. And you can see here, we are kind of lagging behind a little because we get so much residential development coming in all the time. We're at 91 to 9%, and that's a little better than last year. We were at 92 to 8%. So we're moving the needle a little bit, but even as more commercial development comes in, houses keep coming in too, so the ratio is kind of staying the same as we grow. Commercial development, why do we want this? Why do they say a 70-30 split is good? Commercial development in general is less of a strain on municipal resources than residential development. So said another way, each dollar of commercial tax base revenue has greater value than each dollar of residential tax base, because residential development means, you know, with the houses means more cars, more which drive on roads, which means more maintenance of the roads, more parks for the kids, more public safety, more police officers because you have more population and all that. So you're spending that money that's coming in for the residential growth. Whereas if you have a 50,000 square foot life sciences building, that doesn't require as many services as maybe a neighborhood of 300 homes. So the money coming in from the commercial, it has that greater value. So as we continue to grow, the commercial will come, but it's important to identify areas in town where we'd like to see that commercial growth, and the different types of commercial we want to see, as we've recently done with the comprehensive plan update. Here's a few of the major commercial projects on Main Street. Since we're speaking about Main Street, everybody knows about Cobblestone Village. That's an $80 million investment, 50,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space, and 188 apartments. Walbrook here, where the Publix is, $120 million investment, 265,000 square feet of retail and restaurant and office space. And then here at the old Pine Bluff site, we have the new Glow on Main that's under construction right now. That's about a $12 million investment, 64,000 square feet. That'll be indoor recreational space. These developments are and will bring in many new businesses. There are many smaller developments in the works too. You're seeing it on Main Street now, the new Learning Express over by the Sonic, the Scooters Coffee that's going in, that should be open next week. There's a couple new restaurants that we don't know of yet that are going in over by Granite Falls Boulevard in a new commercial building. North Wake Eye Care there across from the SECU. So a lot of other businesses coming in on a smaller scale as well. Here's kind of some of those nodes. along Main Street where those commercial businesses are coming in. We currently have about 130 brick and mortar businesses in town. And as these developments that I mentioned are built out and completed over the next couple of years, we're looking at adding at least another 25 businesses, which is about a 20% increase. And for comparison, since I've been here over the last 5 years, every year, give or take, maybe 3, 4, 5 new businesses would open up in Rolesville. So you're looking at, possibly 25 or so in the next 2 years, so 12 and 12, 12 and 13. And kind of, what Rolesville lacks right now is the land resources that are already entitled and ready to be absorbed for the non-residential demand that we have. So we're land poor and demand rich, if you want to say, in Rolesville. All the non-residential land uses and land zone for non-residential is kind of in this area. This is it. And if you think about Burlington Mills Road or even Jonesville Road, we have essentially no commercially zoned land. So when somebody comes to us and asks us where they want to locate a business, we direct them here because this is where it's already zoned for. So that's just something to think about as well, where we can maybe start to expand and invite people to come in other places of town. Here's a little bit more about the demand. So per estimations that were provided in the comp plan, you can see in 2025, there's demand for an additional 216,000 square feet of office space in Rolesville, 290,000 square feet of retail, 511,000 square feet of industrial. And from the pipeline right now, so this is what's in development that is coming to Rolesville already, we're looking at about 159,000 square feet of office and retail. So what that leaves is a gap there. So you can do the math of the office, 216 minus 159, for retail, 290 minus the 159, and that's kind of the gap that hasn't had the demand for that office and retail that want to come to Rolesville. And I did just want to mention this real quick. I didn't want us to forget about this area, sort of outside of downtown, kind of coming into downtown, part of southern Main Street. I think these parcels represent a key development potential for Rolesville as well. So we want to be thinking about that. I don't know if we classify this as downtown yet, but it's on our Main Street. We're calling this kind of Gateway 401. But, something, we want to be thinking about as we think about where can commercial growth happen, where would be a good place for it. This is one of the things that's called out in the comprehensive plan, one of the areas. So just wanted to provide a quick look at the current landscape and get us thinking about a new vision for downtown Rolesville. So I guess I can also answer any questions. I know I went through stuff fast, so I can go back.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I just asked, can I ask a question? So if you go back to the later part where you were saying where we could develop commercially off of Main Street, why not just develop on the bypass? Why develop commercially off of Business 401 or South Main Street or North Main Street? Why not just have people go to the bypass?
Yep, great question. I think if we could go back 20 years and think about the development of the bypass, we might have done some things different. There's some limitations to access on the bypass. So right now, if somebody does want to locate on the bypass, they have to use the existing either Jonesville Road, Young Street, the existing access points off the bypass. So somebody can't come in like a Target or a Walmart and say, well, I want a new driveway off of the bypass off of Rolesville. NCDOT will not allow that anymore. So they have to think about locating near Young Street or Rolesville Road or Jonesville. There's a large residential development that was approved about 15 years ago, maybe, before the bypass was built. That took up a lot of potential land for potentially that could have been commercial. That's the Point development with the over 800 homes. And the land is also very topographically challenged. So if you guys have driven along the bypass, if you looked over, you'd see that there's gullies and hills and everything like that. So that means a developer, the cost of developing that is a lot more. And the other thing is that land, needs to be for sale. So the current landowners might not be willing to sell. People might be calling them and saying, hey, I'd love to buy your 50 acres. And they say no. So there's a number of reasons, I guess, but it's definitely something for us to think about. Where along the bypass can we start designating land for commercial development? And even thinking about going so far as to purchase it someday and rezone it for commercial or for industrial to attract whatever we would like to see here in Rolesville.
So how do we align our comp plan with the RDA downtown and business growth goals that they have to create one shared road? Can you call up the question? I say it again. How do we align our current comp plan with the RDA downtown and business growth goals to create one shared roadmap?
I think that's a great question. That's exactly why we're here tonight. I think we're going to talk about those answers. I guess, yeah. But that's exactly, you're asking the right question, and that's why we wanted to start that conversation tonight.
I have a question, please. The watershed, how does that impact our ability to grow, and what limitations or acts of Congress can we put in place to start operating in those areas?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So what Commissioner Long is referring to is the watershed district that's designated by the county and maybe the state as well. Kind of the eastern half of Rolesville, from Young Street to the east, from Rolesville Road to the east, the high school and east, is a watershed district, meaning that City of Raleigh and Wake County has decided that that's an area they want to save and preserve and limit development in order to preserve the quality of water there for the future growth of the triangle area. So one of the stipulations is if you develop in that area, you can only develop, I think it's 12%, have 12% impervious surface to 88% pervious. And another way of saying that, and they also do not allow right now commercial development, or very, very limited agricultural business commercial. So what we're gonna see there are these neighborhoods that are very low density. So think of acre lot sizes out there in the watershed. So that is limiting our growth going in that direction. And I think there's it's a policy discussion that that's a good one to have, and there's a lot of different entities involved in that, and a lot of it's outside of Rolesville's hands. But if we want to see more commercial development out that way, then it is a barrier. If we're okay with the preservation of natural resources, and maybe we want to do more things with parks and agriculture and stuff like that, then it's not such a barrier. But it kind of depends on what we want to do out there.
One or two more questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. That was great.
Yeah.
I'll take that. All right. Thank you, Michael. That was really good. Lots of data, lots of really helpful information. One of the things that is clear is that there's a lot happening and a lot's going to happen. And the group, again, back to the point that this is a team that's going to really guide and make it happen, what you want to see for downtown Rolesville. Planning Board, the Commission, and DDA. So this is going to be really important. To go to the next. There we go. So what is it, when you bring a team together of different groups, you need to have a strategy. And one of the things that we talked about that's really important is thinking about a strategic plan, thinking about how a strategic plan could be really helpful as an organizational management tool for bringing folks together. Why is that important? It's important because it's for you all to set priorities together, these three bodies working together to set those priorities. Helps focus energy and resources, and this actually, I think this is in your handout. Yes, it is. It's after the page on the agenda, so you can follow along here real quick. helps focus energies and resources, strengthen operations. So when the town planning board's working on something, or the planning staff are working on something together with economic development and DDA, so our DDA is trying to implement the vision in collaboration, and that's what this is really about, is how we collaborate. So it strengthens your operations in a collaborative way. It ensures the employees involved in making things happen, the staff and all those various groups that we're talking about, and the stakeholders. So you have stakeholders that are important. The Chamber of Commerce would be an important stakeholder, local businesses that are associated with it. Got the nod, yes. It's important that you all share and that you work with your stakeholders towards common goals. Establish agreement around intended outcomes and results so that you all are moving towards the same direction. Assess and adjust direction in response to the changing environment. Things may change, the economy may change, technology may change, AI may change all of it. You just don't know, so you have to be in a position to have a collaborative effort to make changes to that environment. Go to the next slide real quick. When you think about a strategic plan, and you probably can't read all of that, but you think about what you need to have in place to have a strategic plan. First, you have to have a vision. Then you have to establish a mission and a goal, and the goals that you want to achieve as part of your strategic plan. And then once you establish those goals, you need to set performance measures to track how you're doing. And then, of course, to get things done, you need an action plan, strategies and tactics to accomplish those things. So those are sort of the goals, and one of the key things, again, I mentioned earlier when we talk about what the value of a strategic plan is including input from key partners, stakeholders, people that are a part of this, the community that you represent, the businesses that are a part of it, and the broader community that you're a part of in the region too. So those are some of the things that we wanted you to think about as you begin this journey together of these three bodies that are trying to lead the effort for downtown Rolesville. One of the things we want to do is begin to help, at the end of tonight, we hope that we're going to have a conversation towards the end of the evening about that vision, that first important step. You're going to go through these things as you move forward, establishing a mission, goals, performance measures. That's how you get things done. But we will tonight, we hope to have a vision statement that you'll feel comfortable with as we go through this process. One of the things that we'll do to help you get to that vision, we're going to have a little exercise right now, and I'll ask Danielle to talk about how we get you all. You're going to have a chance to work together at your tables and do some fun things, I think, to really sort of gather that. So I'll hand it off to Danielle.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Some of our commissioners may remember this activity. We did something very similar at our strategic planning retreat. So I'm going to pass out some magazine pictures. First, how many of us have done a vision board? Show. Okay. All right. So this should be very familiar to you. So we really all want you to I'm going to hand out some pictures, and I'm going to give you a sheet of paper, and at your tables, you're going to essentially create a vision board for downtown Rolesville. What you want it to look like, what you want it to say. You can even have a headline if you want, just explaining what downtown Rolesville will look like, what it should represent. So I'm going to hand this out. We're going to have glue sticks, all in this blue basket right here. So you have glue sticks, you have scissors, to just go free and have fun. So I'll pass this out in a second. Any questions before we do this? Okay. So I'll pass that out. You have about 15 minutes.
I saw the smiles. I think they are familiar with this exercise.
You have about 15 minutes to work on this.
All right. We're going to actually ask each table send an emissary over here to the phone board with your sheet. And the emissary is going to describe what's going on your board. So we have somebody that's already to go. And what Danielle is going to do is she's going to take picking up themes that she gets from each of these that'll help inform our last discussion for the evening around the vision statement. All right. Are you ready? Can you help him put that on? Yeah. She's got tape to help her. She'll meet you there. That was a very busy group of people there, wasn't it? All right. All right.
All right, so in our vision board, we took a collaborative effort of throwing some things that we wanted to help define through words and pictures that we feel and we want on our downtown. We'll start at the top and work our way to the bottom. First, you'll see that we like nice restaurants with cloth napkins, something that we can actually use a knife and fork to cut. Showmen on skates, we want a social place, we want places for people to be able to hang out, go home. And then you'll see here the word safe harbor, because not only do we want it to be safe, but we want to also have the entertainment. We have here people resisting, embracing AI. It is the reality that we need to accept technology is here. So it's either we get ahead of it or we play catch up. That's going to be part of our downtown. Also part of the downtown, we have diversity. We have a Granny Squares because it's not just about the young folks, it's about everybody. We have family because again, it's about everyone. We have the local feel, local shops. We like the idea of the holiday town. We are already very celebratory during Christmas. We still have one of the longest standing parades in the state. We have a great set of people that come out. Why not really highlight that as part of what we do as a town, as a holiday town? We have our most fantabulous public service from a fire department and as well as the police. And then as you'll see here, and I'll end it with these two things. We love our town. We love all these pieces that make up what our town is today and what it will be. But we cannot get past the fact that we need some good food to eat. Yes. Don't y'all look at me and judge me. But we love Hardee's, we love Subway, we love Bojangles. But enough is enough. We need them here, but we need more. We want more variety. We want more options. And we want it to be fresh. We want it to be delicious. We want it to be hearty. And at the end of the day, we want to say thank you for coming to Rolesville and come back and see us again. All right?
Stay right here.
So you found the table of the creatives, and here's the table of the engineers.
Very organized.
Yeah, we got very literal with our, thank you. So I'm loud enough.
I got one question. Since you want good food, when are you gonna put in a cooking school?
Cooking school, we actually have that.
We have there.
So we took it pretty literal around looking for pictures for what we would like to see in the environment. Again, a group of engineers. So first of all, like a gathering place, right? Where can you gather? Where can you stay? Where can the community get together and have a good time? So office spaces and different types of office spaces. It can either be a larger, taller building where you have multiple people, lawyers, doctor's offices, accountants, PCAs, all those type of things. But some of the commercial space could be more museum, right? Make it more interesting to people that come and make it more of a destination. We talk about the gateway into town, like how to make sure that you know you're coming into Rolesville. And it's something that you would invite, right? It's someplace, a destination you want to come to. We talk about recreation, like where's our parks and recs, soccer fields, dog parks, things along those lines where people could go. Fireworks, where we're gonna have fireworks in the future. Great, somebody's been here 26 years now, I think. We've gone to fireworks every year, and it's been wonderful, right? Great for a very small town. Where's that park and rec? We're gonna have that kind of stuff.
I like the way they had notes associated with their pictures, so I thought that was very, very great foresight on their part to plan ahead. All right, so
And clearly this middle table had the good magazines, because we had like Wall Street Journal, and articles. We struggled, and Nexium commercials, so, I mean, very good, thank you. So what we were trying to come up with was this idea of, you know, a commitment to quality, like having quality businesses in town, and I think also we were really focusing on retail and activities. I mean, that might be from us three women here at the table, we would like more places to shop, plus, you know, just to bring more in, because you can have restaurants galore, but let's face it, we only eat how many times a day? What do you do after you eat? There's nothing to, or just something to do. Okay, and clearly that was the men's table. So what are we doing, what are we offering to keep people in town? So of course, different levels of retail, or even family activities, like we were saying, what did you say, Paul, the global?
Yeah, night ball.
Oh, Paul wants a cosmic bowling, you know, just, I mean, not necessarily these things, but you get the idea, you know, even like miniature golf or something along those lines. So that was what we were really trying to hit on here, and especially since we are so family focused here, let's do things, find things, not just for the kids to do, but things that, you know, grandparents can do and our older generations. And we also were trying to keep that hometown charm. So the mom and pop kind of stores on Main Street. You know, having like the biking paths and the walking paths. And then, I mean, and a donut, because I think we needed a little bit of sweets too. We were a little focused on that. But so basically, fun for everyone, not just a focus on restaurants, which we all want, but what's gonna keep people here? What's going to lend others to realize the charm that we do have in Rolesville?
I really like the contrast in these. The first one was just this flurry of ideas that came up here. Just a massive flurry. Then as you said, the engineers with their very straight lines and their very clear notes. And then this one was very, very well manicured. I thought really well done. I thought that was fantastic. So you put some thought into it. I hope that was helpful. And what Danielle has done is she's gathered some of the data, the information from your ideas, and we're going to use that to sort of draft a couple vision statements for you all to consider at the later part of the evening. I think right now, Danielle, I think we can go ahead and take a break for, what, 10 minutes, you think? 10 on the dot. 10 minutes. So we'll take a 10-minute break and everybody reconvene at what time? 6:35 by that clock right up there. 6:35 we'll reconvene. All right, everybody back? Yes, sir. Nice break. Left side, right side experience from just having your brains there with the pictures and the way the engineers did it. I thought that's sort of the way I appreciated that. So now we're going to do sort of an exercise, what we call a gap analysis. And we want to talk about where we are today. What's your goal, ideal goal for downtown Rolesville? So you've had a chance to think about where we are today. Michael gave us some great sort of detailed information talking about where we are today. You know where you are, what you're doing well today. You know that. Where are we now? What are we doing now? What's our ideal goal? So that's the second step that we're going to go through here. And then we're going to talk about what do we need to do to get from 1 to 2. What is that gap analysis? So what are the things that we're going to do? I'm going to ask all of you, and you have sticky notes. Daniel, do you like them to use the big sticky notes for this?
Start with the small.
Start with the small sticky notes. Everybody go ahead and get some small sticky notes, spread those around your table. And I want you to sort of sit at we had that fun experience where everybody worked together at the table. We're gonna take a minute for you just to think individually and take notes on these small sticky notes about answering question 1, then 2, then 3. So you'll do sticky notes for each of these in order, 1, 2, and 3. Where are we now? What are we doing now? What are we doing well? What's our ideal goal for downtown Rolesville? So that'll be the second set of sticky notes that you do. And the third set is what do we need to do to get there? What is between us getting there? What are the things we need to do? Are there some actions we need to take? Is there some money we need? Is there some process we need to engage in? How do we get from where we are today to where we want to be ideally? I'm going to ask you to take do you think, Daniel, about 5 minutes? Just 5 minutes to do it individually. And then I'll ask you to debrief your table about your thoughts.
One thing.
Yes, sir.
Nobody can say traffic.
No traffic.
Too late. Because we already know about that. And we're working on it.
First one, Eric.
But you're doing something right.
I'm making a joke, but it's something that we know. And what we want y'all to do is think either very specific to something you're seeing within the planning board, very specific to something RDDA. Like we know the general stuff. We know the traffic. We know the walkability. We know the greenway. But if it's something you can think of that you feel like we don't see, right? Because we hear the concerns, we're in the Facebook groups, we know that. Like we can run down the top 5. But what's your 6, you know? And so this is what I want. I want y'all to push, I want y'all to really lean in on it because they're gonna take this there and give it to us. And so we really want to use this moment, right? So I made a joke, but that's it. I really want y'all to lean in on this one.
So where we are now, where we want to be, and then what do you think we need to do to get from where we are now to where we want to be? That could be organizational, it could be structural, it could be actions, it could be things that you do. It could be events, it could be whatever you think you need to do. Did I get that right here? All right. Ready? All right, the next step, as a group, I'm going to ask you to share each other's ideas with you at your table. Take the big sticky notes, and what's going to happen is that you're going to sort of share and reach consensus that these are the things we agree for number 1, 2, and 3. You're not limited. Consensus means you can move it forward. So I want you to write down your answers as a group for 1, then 2, and then 3. So you want to make a note. And then I'm going to ask someone to share your answers from your table to the whole room. So my suggestion would be someone who takes the notes also would be the person to share.
If you write, I'll talk.
So, as to confirm, as a table, go over your answers to number 1 and then write down the one you think you want to move forward to the table. Then the same thing for number 2. And the same thing for number 3. And we're going to ask you to share those from your table to the whole group. All right. So I'm going to ask the table to come up and share their answers for these 3 questions, or 3.5 questions. And I'll start. He's got to wear the glasses. I've got another pair.
Hold on, put my hands this way.
Yeah, my left hand.
Lefty.
So I'm going to ask you to come up and just put them on the board up here.
All right.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Right here.
Make sure they're in the straight line.
I'll yell.
Make sure they're in the straight line.
Do you need a microphone?
No, I'm loud enough.
All right. Everybody can hear him?
Can you hear me now? All right, we talked about number 1, what are we doing now and what are we doing well? We're growing well, right? There's actually growth for those of us. It's been a long, long time. It was a tiny town and now it's a lot bigger than we used to be. Planning and development's with a purpose, right? It's not just haphazard. It seems to be like things are growing in the areas we want them to grow. Mayor pointed out we're at a transformation. Right? We used to be a crossroad. and now we're starting to be more of a destination, which is great to see. And then we're attracting growth into the area. And almost too much, right, in the sense of we have a lot more demand than we have space.
So growth is the theme there.
Yep.
I'll take that.
2, what is our ideal goal for downtown Rolesville? We kind of talk about the same themes, I guess, in this page. We call it a stickability, right? If you use web visibility, somebody to sit on your web page and stay on your web page and not go. So stickability here would be giving variety for places, things to do, be it an outdoor amphitheater, sports complex, restaurants, shops, museums. So you're not just coming here for one thing, you're coming here for multiple things, so you can be here for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. Great example is if you're at the Christmas parade that's coming up. After the Christmas parade, it used to be gone, right? It was how fast can I get home? Donnie pointed out there's actually some people at the crossroads that are sticking there, right? Doing a little more shopping. The more items you have here, the more restaurants, more things to do, then you'll have families that come with their kids or whatever to sit there and watch the parade, but stay in the area afterwards. And the walkability, again, if I'm down here by where Glow is, it's not that far to walk up here, so I have a variety of things to do, but if I have to get in my car and drive that, then if I'm in my car, I'm just gonna head home. Yeah, I've done the buses.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
You're doing great.
Oh, that's
That's
number
it. Yeah, put it on number 2. There you go. There you go. Perfect. And what are you going to do to get from the growth to your goal of stickability? What are you going to do? How are we going to get there?
Yeah, here we go. We really talked about pursuing an economic growth, right? And that variety question is, how do we bring places here into town of Rolesville that are not just Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, Jersey Mike, all the standard chains, because that's not a destination. I'm not traveling to Rolesville just to go to Jersey Mike's. Bringing more unique, favorable mom-and-pop type stores, or the women who bring a cookie class. And how can we have a place that comes in here and sells unique spices or things that you can't necessarily get at, Publix, but also have some classes that people can take and cook, or cook from home, right? Is like I pre-prep my meals and I can bring it home. The bakeries, and then that was it. Pretty much bring in the variety of commercial.
Yeah. I like it. So you figured out how to get there.
I hope so.
All right. Table.
Should add a call.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You guys were done.
I would use that excuse
Real
too.
estate agents were gonna
I use that excuse too. I can't read his handwriting. Everybody can read that.
Oh, I don't know, but I might be my glasses.
All right, what are we doing now? We wrote down planning, community staff engagement, community staff and commissioner board engagement, and we wrote down residential growth. And we're definitely doing. What are we doing well? Residential growth, locally owned businesses, mixed use, and subject matter expert hiring. Subject matter expert hiring. We hire good folk and they know what they're doing.
Oh, you mean to work with you?
Yes. And it's out, like you.
Oh. I'm gonna blush now.
Mr. Marsh, the staff, the people on his board, people on his staff, from interim to hopefully official HR director, planning board, things. I'm sorry, Mr. Janice. I'm sorry. But things like that. That's we're doing that well now as a town. What's our ideal goal for downtown Rolesville?
Sir.
Consistency, a curated curb appeal for our businesses. Lighting, color, materials used, a downtown zoning policy. Thriving businesses, we want to see them thrive through being welcoming, safe, walkable, charming but yet modern, social district. But we want to call out, we don't want it just to be an evening social district. We wanted to be a 24-hour social district. And no, it's not all about drinking, folks. Social district, when we say social district,
Conceptually, not legally.
Conceptually, not legally. When we say the social district is like a food hall area, a food hall area, a brewery of some sort, or some type of venue or places where people can come together. If we're talking about a destination town, then what brings people in, then things to do within the town beyond just shopping. Because after the parade, what would they want to do? Well, they can't get out with traffic. Why not hang out in the social district? And you still have to do. Anyway, and then I mentioned charming, so that was it on that.
So that goes on the right side there. You got it. That's it. Right there. So now how are you going to get there?
And Jesus, how do we get there? Text amendments, zoning, specificities in our policies around downtown, unified in our plan, but unified in our message. A larger marketing campaign. Someone needs to tell the story about Rolesville beyond just the folk in Rolesville. Alignment, which gets back to being on the same page about the messaging. Modernization, not only of our marketing materials, but modernization of how we attract people to our beautiful, humble, charming town of Rolesville. And then some things to call out to how we get there. Residents' concerns, addressing them in the moment. Let's not kick the can down the road that far anymore. Let's be a little bit more intentional, be very much more direct, and have a better comms with our residents, or citizens, or our family.
Better communications with them.
Yes. Comms on all positions, promote engagement. In other words, whatever positions we have that come available in the town, whether it's a board, a planning board, a Parks and Rec board, being able to be more visible on those things and make sure that the town can hear them. And then create a community academy to teach the community that it's not easy to sit up here and make decisions when y'all don't know nothing. But that's just what
That's what
happens when you put me up there.
Yeah, that was great. Wow. Thanks. All right.
Seeing that everybody pretty much has said a lot of what we've already stated, which is great. I don't have to do a whole lot of elaboration. I could just say what's on our sheet. So I could just read it off, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so we kind of echoed a lot of what we heard with the growing. Instead of just saying growth, we actually say growing pains. Now, we know most of the time we think about a pain, you think about something that's not, something that you are looking forward to, but pains are necessary to identify problems at some point, so that's what I do in my profession. So to have growing pains is not a bad thing. So we have growing pains, and our growing pains are centered around business growth, residential growth, and so that's what we're doing right now. A couple other things that we're doing is someone said we approve it all. So we want something, we get it done, we approve it. And then we have done well with adding public space. What we've done was add public space. We did a 1B at the request of one of our table mates.
One B meaning doing well.
Right, doing well. So we have 1A and 1B. So 1B is what we're doing well. We have unique offerings in our community. We have great community events. Of course, our 4th of July, our Fall Fun Festivals, the Christmas parade coming up. We bring a lot of people to our area. And then one of the things I've heard us say is, when we bring people here, now that I've attracted them, what am I going to do to make them want to stay a little longer? We do a good job of listening and engaging, from doing the cafes and doing those surveys and things, listening to our community and engaging our communities. We're doing that well. And then, of course, growth going on with growing pain. Did I miss anything else? Nope. All right. 2, y'all like those teachers. I was a teacher. Okay. Anyway, our number 2 is our real goal for downtown is enforceable maintenance. That kind of goes along with that zoning. We know there's sometimes you ride down Main Street and it looks like somebody got trees or grass growing in the front of their establishment. So we need to be able to enforce some of that maintenance. we want to make Rolesville recognizable and unique. One of the suggestions was we kind of, when you look at Rolesville and some of the surrounding areas, some of our logos and things that we look at, branding, I'm sorry, look similar to some of the surrounding towns. And so how can we make riding into downtown look different than the rest of Rolesville? So making it a little more recognizable and unique. We need to balance our larger chains and the smaller businesses. So yes, we're attracting some of the larger big box companies, but we still want to have that small feel by having big chains and small businesses. And then lastly, accessible housing and transportation. Accessible. Some people call it affordable, I call it accessible. That one's mine. Why? Because we want to bring all these people here who want to work. If they can't live here, can they work here? If they can't drive here, can they get here to work? So we want to bring all these people here. We looked at the income. Most of these smart people that have making all this money, they're not even working at Bojangles. They're not working at the smaller businesses that we're bringing in. So we got to make sure that you can, my number 2, eat, work, and play in Rolesville. All right, so now,
how are we going to get there? How are we going to get there?
Compromise. Number 1, compromise. Second thing, balance and inclusion. You need to make sure, again, all the things that we see is we got our yin and our yang to make sure that we are bringing everybody together and balancing everything out. Somebody said parking garage. Why? We got an issue with parking. Someone else said it in another group. How do we fix that? Create more parking space. Might not be wide. You might have to go up. And more open space and stick to the plan. We got strategic plans. We're doing meetings like this. Let's not hear from the plan that we put together.
All of you, a round of applause for all of you. So I would say that's fantastic. Really nicely done. All right, so this leads to the next thing I wanted to put, and I'm going to advance the slide here, Danielle. I'm not very good at that. Let's see. Can I do the arrow? Oh, wait, actually. Oh, yeah, you better do it. Sorry. So when we think about what you just heard here today, thinking about, okay, what are we going to do based on all the conversation we've had, and you think about that column, what are we going to do to get from where we are today where we want to be? You have to think about how you prioritize ideas. We're not going to do that particularly right now. We're not going to do too much of that because we don't want to throw anything out. We want everybody to feel like they're being heard here. But you have to think about quick wins. That's important. Every project I've worked on, the first question you ask is, where are some of those quick wins that we can make progress today? High impact, especially high impact, low effort. So that's sort of category 1, quick wins. Then you think about, okay, so what's the big thing? And we were talking earlier about the impact of major renovations in the downtown area. I was working with Concord the other day, and the mayor was telling me there that they went through 2 years of sheer heck because they tore up downtown and the businesses were really struggling, and it was and they just cut the ribbon on it, and everyone was very happy. So that's a major project, high impact, high effort. Then you have things like low impact, low effort fill-ins. We can do this. It's not that hard, but it also doesn't have that much of an impact. So that's sort of that third category, fill-in. Then you think about something that maybe we shouldn't do. Thinking about that. Thinking it would require significant resources, maybe wouldn't have a big impact, maybe not as substantial. So that might not be something that we want to move forward on. We want to rethink that. So those are sort of the 4 categories, the way you look at ideas and prioritize. We're going to think, so as this group collaborates going forward, you're going to think about those sorts of categories. Where are we going to get those big wins, the quick wins, the big wins, maybe not big effort, but also not particularly significant. And I think, is this in their handout too? I think it might be. I'm trying to remember. Oh, no, it wasn't. The next thing we're going to talk about is sorry. So that's sort of a way to categorize when you look at a project, where does it fit in this? So that's just, we wanted to share that with you. And we're gonna do a little exercise at the end that Danielle was handing out sticky dot voting for. The next thing I wanted to talk about, if you'll go to the next slide.
Before you
Yeah,
move on.
absolutely, go ahead.
So, this is something we use as staff, like in a literal sense. One thing that Stephen brings, I bring, a lot of the people that are subject matter experts that are coming on our staff, like I have my black belt in Lean Six Sigma, right? A lot of these things with continuous improvement, system design, moving things through, they fall into these buckets. And one of the things I wanted to just kind of share with y'all, because I think it's an opportunity to educate, is when we look at major projects, a lot of these things end up in our CIP, right? And sometimes it's major because of the money, sometimes it's major because there's a policy shift that we need to do, or there's something that we need to lobby to get. And so there could be a number of reasons why it falls into major. And one of the things that we're working to do now is as people call in and they say, why can't we do this like as soon as possible? We're trying to educate people instead of saying it's just somebody else's fault, right? It's very easy to blame it on City of Raleigh or the big ambiguous NCDOT, right? But there's a reason for these things. And so the way these things fall in, when you give your ideas, I know this is a practice, but these are things that we listen to you all as these people that we come in and talk about all the time, like rethinking. He offers up recommendations like with greenway stuff. Changing our whole greenway plan is something that's like, but if we work on the development, we found this way to rethink of when Walbert Flats changes the location of a greenway, we automatically amend that within the acceptance of that through the board's action, right? And so are we gonna go through and revamp the whole plan? No, but as we see these places that become pain points, let's not think about, we need to think about waiting 5 years from now to edit a piece of a bigger thing. Let's go ahead and find that mechanism through rethinking how we look at it and saying, let's go ahead and do that right now within this approved thing. Because times are shifting and we can't always wait for 5 years from now to say, oh, we need to do this with some bike lanes, or oh, we need to do this. So we're doing our best now to make real-time shifts and tweaks in these plans and how we approach even our projects to make it to where it's beneficial and we can get traction on stuff as soon as possible. Like the mayor is always saying, I like how we're becoming more flexible. I like how we're becoming more nimble. It's very hard as a government organization to do that unless we start being more creative in how we rethink certain things. And so I just wanted to say, like, these quick wins, these are things that we do all the time. When we find out in the middle of the year we can't execute something with our budget, then we say, all right, well, we're not gonna be able to get those license plate readers. There's $15,000. It's already in the departmental budget for police. What is something else that's a quick win, a low-hanging fruit that we can put that money towards since we've allocated it for this one-time expense? Last year, because we had something that was delayed, we were able to get a new compactor truck for our yard waste program. It's $30,000. But that came as a result of having several little items that were delayed and we couldn't do right now. And so I just wanted to just take a second and say that from staff perspective, we've worked from this, and that's why we're injecting this in here in the hopes that you all can kind of see the thinking that we have and then make some of your ideas as they come down through the mayor or through somebody on the planning board or through Ms. Sheila when she says, hey, Michael, you know, be thinking about that. This is what we do. Like we're trying to equip people. We brought this same thing up with all of our staff so we can equip people to kind of run with the ideas y'all give us in real time. And just because the idea comes and we can't do it right now, sometimes it's in that major project thing, even though it sounds very, very simple, because there's literal legislation that says, no, we can't download. Why can't we stop these people? The state said we can't download. We're a 3-year moratorium. So we're battling the state. But I'm also in Raleigh 2 weeks ago at the General Assembly. Like, how can we do this? How can we do this? How can we do that? And they're letting us know how we can find ways to move through that too. But I just want to take a moment to just highlight that because I think I can talk to you all differently than, and more specific and more strategically than if I'm out in the echo chamber with like 50 people that don't necessarily grasp it. Because when I said Lean Six Sigma, like 60 of y'all shook your heads because that's where y'all work. These are things y'all use in your workspaces as well. But yeah, you can move to the next.
Quick question here before you run away. Do you publish anywhere that book of work? Do you publish anywhere that book of work? Like, here's all the things we want to do this year, and here, like the 50 things that you've got on your list. Some will get done, some won't get done.
Yeah, so it's the budget.
So it's in the budget. But
Yeah, it's all in the budget. You look at the budget presentation.
Yeah, I looked at too many budget presentations.
Yeah,
I would think to bring it more down to
how to make it more digestible.
Yeah, something that anybody can look at for the public.
Okay, let's do that.
Because reading a budget's fun.
Yeah, everything we do is connected to money. And so you look at certain things, but we can figure out that. But if you look at the departmental pages, it says these are the 4 or 5 big things we're doing this year. And then all the things we do underpin that. Like PD said they're looking, like police department, for example, they're saying we want to be more tech savvy and find more innovative, like software-oriented solutions to increase our capacity. And so now we're looking at license plate readers. We're putting up more signage. Like how do we, instead of doing just, it's harder and more expensive to install a speed hump, but we can put up signs that measure speed that kind of give us an idea of what are the peak times in which people are speeding. Like we just did that out off Avon Ferry. Is it Avon Ferry? What's the road? Avery. I said Avon Ferry. Avery. Off Avery. You know, we do after you make the left at Betty's house. Right. Yeah. But like we do that, and so they're monitoring that, right? So finding more technologically efficient ways to do that. I said that. Sorry, I just told you. That's how I look at it.
Did you say there was a 3-year
moratorium on so we can't downsell.
Are we in the second year of that now?
We're in the first year.
So we could just do that.
2-year moratorium on ETJ expansion.
On ETJ
Forever, never,
expansion.
never.
So it's forever, ever, never on down.
Unless the law changes.
Never seems it long until you.
I know some people know what I'm talking about. I know some people know what I'm talking about.
So we're at the general assembly, right? And so there's a conversation I had with the mayor 2 weeks ago. I'm like, we need to look at lobbyists now. Like we need to start looking at what does it look like to lobby for our unique needs in Rolesville, right? And then I'm at this training on the hill, on the North Carolina hill. There's like, yeah, y'all need to go ahead and get into it. Like you can't wait. Like if we want the specific stuff we want for us here, then we're going to have to start leveraging more of these things that the city of Raleigh, Durham, because I met with the Durham lobbyist, and he was like, yeah, a lot of your stuff match up with a lot of people, but the issue is that they're not mentioning our name when they get it for themselves, right? And so, but these are things like that we work on, and we have conversations about all the time. But
lobbying is a great idea if you can afford it, because we need to lobby to get us out of the little bit of a watershed. Yeah,
because we lost our biggest advocate.
I'm not saying put residential
down there, but I don't want to railroad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to railroad everything, but yeah, I wanted to just let you all, give y'all a glimpse into kind of like our perspective and like what we're building on, because we kind of are the machine of Rolesville government, right? And we look to y'all for how do we work the machine? Like which way is the machine going? What are we fixing today? What are we worry about tomorrow? And this is how we do it. So don't take it lightly.
And this was great. This was perfect because what we're going to do, Danielle and I are going to go over there to the board, and we're going to ask you all, because when you look at we're going to ask you to think about the wins, the quick wins and the major projects. Think about what we talked, the ideas that you gave to fill that gap. And we're going to, I think, what color we're going to give them dots.
We're going to use just your green and your blue. So sorry, ignore that orange one there. So we're going to have your quick wins be your green dots, and then your blue ones be your major projects.
And the reason we're doing it this way is because I think Eric just perfectly outlined the details of a project and the effort required is kind of unknown right off the top of your head. So let the staff think about that and get back, that'll be a process of building. But what we wanted to do today is just get some quick feedback. If you look down the projects, the ideas to get from where we are to where we want to be, that middle column, we're going to ask you all, we're going to take like a 5-minute break, and during that 5 minutes, we're going to ask each of you to go up there and put the dots. Again, it was
Green for quick wins, blue for major projects.
So you get to pick one quick win and one major project. One quick win and one major project in the middle.
And if I missed you with the dot,
It matches something.
I'm colorblind, so I really struggle with color.
Green means go.
So we're gonna let you go do that, and Danielle, I'll be over there, because the way it's written, we're gonna have to be careful. That was super helpful. That's just a quick snapshot that we can take back, and we'll share the results of this with you all in a report that we'll be putting together. Danielle will put a report together that we'll share back with you. The next thing I wanted to talk about, and that is, I hope I can advance these slides. She uses Canva, which I am not an expert. Oh, I did it. All right.
Look, you're amazing.
This is in your handout. If you'll look on your handout, the roles and responsibilities. This is really important. And I'm going to look back to the staff, and Steve and Mike and everybody. Eric, I want you to sort of help make sure I get this right, and you're welcome to jump in. But this was something that they thought was really important to share, and that is the different roles. And you have it in your handout. I'm just going to sort of look at the handout, because you can take it with you. But there are 3 bodies here, and you're collaborating here today, but when it comes to doing things and actually taking action, there are specific roles and responsibilities, some of which are prescribed in state law. We have our town attorney here. If there's any questions?
After hours.
After hours. Okay. Not billable hours, is that what you're telling me?
It's not billable hours. Oh, it's free.
Yeah, I got 5 more questions.
It's overtime.
I'll get you a drink.
But the Board of Commissioners is the legislative and policy setting body. And in this context, they review and approve major items such as annexation, zoning map amendments, text amendments, and development agreements. Of course, they also set the policy issues, they adopt budgets and strategic direction for the town. And they provide oversight of the town manager, who then provides oversight of the town staff. And they are the final decision maker on land use and development matters. Did I get that right? All right, I got the thumbs up from the manager. Then the role of the planning board, and this is an advisory board. I just spent a few days in Asheville helping them with some of their recovery work, and one of the things they did is they revised their advisory boards during the period of their recovery, where they're doing twice the amount of work they normally do. And I learned a lot about the role of advisory boards. It is an advisory board appointed by and serving at the pleasure of the Board of Commissioners. And they have legislated, Mr. Attorney, they have legislative mandates to review certain things. They will, and that also includes the ETJ, at least so far. We don't know what's going to happen to ETJs in the future legislatively, but they still are involved in the ETJ. They prepare, review, and maintain and recommend comprehensive plans and other planning documents. They review and recommend on zoning and map text amendments. They recommend, the action word there is recommend. They advise the Board of Commissioners on implementation of plans, policies, and regulations. So they have a relationship with the Board of Commissioners. They are appointed by the Board of Commissioners. They advise the Board of Commissioners, who are the final decision makers. The third body that's here is a 501c3, which I just learned was created within the last year or two. The Rolesville Development Association. And this is a 501c3 nonprofit that focuses on downtown Rolesville revitalization, attracting businesses, supporting existing and beautified and promote downtown. You initiate and manage programs to improve downtown appearance, They collaborate with town government, businesses, and other stakeholders to implement downtown vision and marketing. They organize special events. This is a huge part of what a lot of communities do. They organize special events, beautification, and small business support in the downtown core. I know that you're doing, there's a recent program that was just put in place for the facades, I believe, is that right?
Yes, we did just do, we have a facade program and we manage that, but some of this definition is part of the chamber definition, and that probably needs to be fixed. This might be pulled from something.
Well, there could be some duplication of efforts, maybe that needs to be looked at, or that,
Okay.
this is general research that we did showing what EDAs do. So every community may handle it a little differently. And again, this was specific to the downtown core. Does that make sense? So the key thing here is the actual relationships are between the Board of Commissioners giving direction, appointing and giving direction to the planning board, who then provides recommendations back based on the request for information and the legislative requirements of a planning board. The Rolesville Downtown Development Association is a standalone entity, and you have no specific relationship with the planning board. And your relationship with the Board of Commissioners is that you are just another stakeholder that they care about and provide in some cases funding to accomplish the goals. And so I think that's helpful for everyone to understand the roles and how you relate to each other. I want to make sure Steve and Eric are comfortable, or Michael, if you want to add to that, anybody want to add to that working relationship, or does anyone have any questions? Like Sheila just pointed out.
My head is spinning because that definition is incorrect. We need to fix that. So that everybody's clear. A lot of that, half of that definition is truly the chamber.
What you say on the chamber?
Where it describes what the 501c3 does, the attract new businesses.
Specific to the downtown core, or is that?
Correct, but our focus is on commercial.
Okay.
But the chamber is to attract and support existing businesses. That's what chamber is here for. And they do the programming. We don't do.
Okay, and again, so every community is a little different, so I apologize for that. And did you want to add to that?
No, what she said was spot on. So our deal is in concert with one another. We both.
Does that sound good? We'll correct
There
it.
is some overlap. I mean, there's some overlap.
Yeah,
I
there's
just want to
overlap,
make
sure,
sure.
but that's why we work in concert with one another.
Yeah, I mean, because there's liaisons from the chamber or the RDDA that make sure that you move together.
And a big focus for RDDA though, in addition to the facade program, is really developing relationships with developers to bring commercial in. That's really what we're focused on.
For the DDA.
Right, but as far as supporting existing businesses, of course, we want to see them thrive, but we're not going and giving them workshops or marketing or anything to help their business grow in that sense. We're not that granular. Our focus is more on bringing the larger commercial businesses here, developing relationships with those developers, expanding relationships.
I'm so glad that you're here.
And
That is really important.
The concert piece and the working together piece is, they go for the developer. We look at the landscape of businesses that are already in place and make sure that the businesses that we're bringing in with the development work in complement
with the bigger picture.
With what's there
Yeah.
in the game.
Okay, good. Anybody have any more questions for Sheila that might be much more insightful? Does that make sense? Does this work for everyone? Yes, sir, Michael, thank you.
I don't know if this is a good time to say it too. I think one of the reasons we scheduled this meeting, in addition to the visioning and everything, was just trying to seek to understand how everybody fits in as well when something gets proposed to town, and what is legally allowed, when can a group like the RDDA weigh in on an existing proposal. So let's say town staff here from a real estate agent, they're representing somebody, and we don't know who it is, but it's a burger joint, and they're gonna go right across the street from McDonald's. And some of the people in the room would say, that's the last thing we wanna see is a burger joint right across the street from McDonald's. Other people in the room might say, well, that's the best thing we need another better burger joint. And so staff is working with this entity that we don't quite know who it is yet, and they're not telling us, and we're getting their site plan, we're hearing from them about, you know, what they want to rezone the property to. And I think then it comes out to where, you know, part of the rezoning process, a neighborhood meeting has to be scheduled a month out or something. And then that gets publicized, and then maybe the word gets out, oh, it's Burger King. Burger King wants to go right across the street from McDonald's. And then staff or leadership sometimes may, or not staff, but leadership might be like, well, wait a second, how did this get so far down the road? How are we already entertaining a Burger King right across the street from McDonald's? And then staff is surprised because staff didn't know, oh, were we supposed to say no to a commercial entity coming in? How do we know that at that stage? When should we know that? Is there a proper place for that conversation to happen? Because staff is just saying, oh, we want to attract commercial development, so we don't want to tell no to anybody yet. We don't even know if they can do it yet. We don't know if they are going to be able to have enough parking spaces yet. There's so many conversations to have, but yet maybe leadership or the groups here are surprised that we've been having the conversation for about a month. So that was one of the things I think we wanted to get together on. How do we communicate better about all that kind of stuff?
I think it works though.
Maybe it's fine.
I think it's designed for neighborhood meeting. So,
Yeah.
you know, I would think that any developer coming in, they don't have, they gotta get the feel for the neighbors first.
Yeah.
So I know they gotta put a lot of cost to get to the neighborhood meeting, but that's when they're gonna find out, well, the town is welcome. And I don't, it's not a great process, you know, it's clumsy, but it works though. I mean, we've seen it work where those neighborhood meetings will bring out, you know, what's needed to be brought out.
And I think everybody, and when I say everybody, the community as well should understand that the neighborhood meeting, that's the purpose of the neighborhood meeting. Like, it's in that step so that people can show up and say, we don't want that, or we love that idea. Because people think it's, when it comes up, it's like a surprise or they're catching us. Like, no, that's when it's supposed to happen, right? Because a lot of the developers, they just have an empty box on their site and they're working 5 different deals. And because like Walker, for example, it could have been a Chipotle, it could have been a Firehouse sub, it could have been a number, because there's a size of a space with the amount of cars that drive by, and it's so big, and it's looking for a food place. And then by the time we know that it's a Chipotle, it's late. Like, the building's already built, you know? And so, but I think everybody should understand, like, you know, we're working to do more educating of our community of the planning process over the next year. Like that neighborhood meeting, that is where you're supposed to come. Just like our town hall meeting, that is where you come for your 3 minutes. Like, that's the whole point. It's built that way.
The neighborhood meeting before the planning board.
It's only a function of the rezoning process.
The rezoning.
The land.
But if it doesn't need to be rezoned, there's no trigger.
In no way, we wouldn't even know it till it happens.
Right.
But, and I don't know if we can do anything about that because I already got all the permits to do it.
And plus, those meetings are only mandated on our business development property, so it doesn't really include the entire town. So, and that becomes another kind of question, even though you're posting that there is a public hearing for that rezoning, the notification itself only goes out to homes within a particular radius. So it's not a town-wide communication that says, hey, this is happening. So that becomes another question that gets thrown on the table.
And our recommendation to them is that they always expand, right?
Yeah, but they're not going to.
They always expand. And
yeah, with that pre-meeting that we talked about. Can the nerd speak for just a moment? I'm a nerd. I was watching a town board meeting from 2 years ago. Why? Because I was driven by social media and some comments that were made. And they were complimenting the board, so I wanted to know why they were complimenting the board. So it was about a neighborhood meeting. And one resident showed up and she said, I never got a letter. So there was a whole discussion about how did they get the letter? It sent first class mail. She was like, well, I never got it. And the person that was presenting said, well, you're on my list, you should have gotten it. That process is too loose. So the town has no control over knowing who got what when. And so we say,
People don't show up to neighborhood meetings. I know I get HOA notices in the mail and I miss them. I have to really look through the junks to find stuff. I think you either have to tighten that process or expand the reach, or make the developers more accountable to say, this is what we did, we sent it certified, we got proof that it was sent and delivered. That has to be tightened.
They used to come out with the developer's letterhead, the envelopes, so I get something from H&H Homes, they're like,
Right, you think it's just marketing, but if it has to be signed for or certified, then you know as a town that you can confidently say, we see that you received this. If you don't show up, it's on them.
What we talked about is what we just put the green dot next to, is being able to educate our community in whatever facet it is. And so that's what we need to do a better job of. I mean, because I try to keep my ear to the ground about things that's happening in Rolesville. I miss a lot. And so if I'm missing a lot and I'm looking for things, those people that are not looking for it, they're missing it. So I think that's what we need to do much better. And that's, if you look at our, I'll call it a map, but if you look at it, that's what we're saying is most important. And in all of this, I think that's what we need to start with our quick.
Yeah, so.
And this is the novice in the room, right? And I understand some of the North Carolina stuff. In New Jersey, what happened is, like, for example, RDDA, right? In Atlantic City, we had the Atlantic City Special Improvement District. If your business fell within the district, if someone came into that district wanting to do a development and they put an application in with planning, right? It automatically triggered a letter from the planning department saying this group is interested in doing this particular type of building or development. We are going to schedule a meeting for this date. It was automatic, and it came from the government, so you knew, oh, okay, I didn't think. Just like he stated, if it comes from the developer, it's, oh, somebody's trying to sell me something, and I'm not with it. So I don't know if that's something that can happen out there, or I don't know, if, you know, legally we can't make that kind of.
Some of the things that, I'll let Jay go say. So some of the things that I think some of y'all may classify as slips by are things that, if there is a precedent set on a previously approved use of that property, and they don't have to do a public meeting, and they don't have to, they're not, like, it's going to go to the board. Like, it'll bypass, like, nothing, like, there's something that's gonna come soon, and it's literally skips all the way by because it fits all the previously approved uses. They change how many doors, they change how many this, they change the orientation of the building, they fit it to where it's gonna go all the way to the board. And it seems like it's skated all the way by, but it's like they're not required to send out this, and they're not required. And we can do that, but it's still gonna come directly to the board for approval, right?
There was a classic example where the commercial property next to Bojangles, right? It was zoned commercial. They wanted to put a school there. That was a permissible use for that project. Not a darn thing you can do about it, guys.
Yep.
Right? You can talk about the site plan, you can talk about whatever, but they have every right to build what that permissible property.
If they own it, right there. Yeah.
So very quickly, because this is really interesting, and we can do anything we really want to do on the notice side, and we've gone through it a few different ways over the years. Neighborhood meetings are a Rolesville creation. Many communities have them, but they're not part of the law. We wrote it for ourselves. Neighborhood meeting is a locally cooked up grassroots thing. It's not part of the zoning and development process of state law. So it's in our LDO and we follow it. However we've written it, whatever happens at the neighborhood meeting, the only thing that's required is that it be held, but neither the developer nor the town need to listen to what people say. It's an informal process. It doesn't tie into any findings or anything like that. The other notice that does have to happen by state law is notice of public hearings, and those are governed by statute, and we actually send more notice than what the law requires by a goodly amount. Then the final question, as has been brought up, is how does the notice go out? There was a time, as I understand, maybe before my time, that local governments did it, but because local governments decided to make the notice so broad, the cost of doing it became excessive. So it got shifted to the private sector to do it. Hey, you want to develop? You spend the money to do it. And that's how it got shifted. You want broader, bigger notice. Every time you go out another 5 feet, you bring in a lot more because the radius creates a volume math thing. I don't know anything about that. So that becomes an issue. And so everyone sort of slipped it over to the developer side, and then the developer needs to report to the staff that it got done with the list and all this sort of thing. The only thing that I've seen that has worked in some places as a middle ground is that the developer prepares the notice, puts them all in envelopes, puts them in a box, and delivers them with postage on them over to the staff. And the staff sends them so that the staff can say, they went out. And God bless you, you can figure out how the USPS eventually gets it to anybody, but that's a whole other thing. So often that doesn't always work out. Some folks get notice after the meeting or after the hearing. There you go. More than you ever wanted to know.
But we hear that, and we've written it down as something we need to continue.
Okay, got it. I thought that was helpful, but it did take a little time. But I followed it. We'll think of some ways to get caught up. I'm just going to quickly hit another slide, just sort of related to this. There we go. Just thinking about aligning a group like this for action, and thinking about, this is just for your information, thinking about who's more equipped to tackle something and your responsibilities, reduce conflict. Having clarity around these things is very important. Thinking about who is responsible for something, who is assigned a task to work on. Thinking about accountability, who has the authority to take actions. That was one of the things we just talked about here. So you always have to think about these things. Who needs to be consulted? What stakeholders are already identified? We talked about the neighborhoods. That's another part of this. Stakeholders should be included. Who will take on that task of consulting? And then thinking about who just needs to be informed. That's just another category of folks we want to. So where are people going to fit in that racing? Who's responsible? Who's accountable? Who's consulted? Who's informed? So I think we are, Mr. Mayor, I think I'm just going to cut right to the chase on this. We wanted to talk to you about, I'm going to ask Danielle to sort of come up now. And she's been working feverishly based on all the input that you guys have given us, especially with the ideas and the actions, that gap analysis. She's drafted some proposed vision statements for you all. Steve, can you help her bring those up? She's working feverishly. I'm going to ask, so I'm going to do it, we're going to shift our gears a little bit from what we normally do. I'm just going to ask Danielle to she's got 3 draft vision statements she's going to go over. And then I'm going to get feedback from you all about these vision statements. And maybe we'll get to where we feel like we have a vision statement that we can send back to you as part of our report. We'll give you a draft vision statement for you all to consider at your next gathering. All right, Danielle worked very hard to do this. Jeez. Like I said, this is, I think, her 6th time working in a room with 4 roles.
So when you guys were all sharing your vision boards, I was taking notes of some of the values that were coming up as well, which is what I used to create these value statements. I just want to also reiterate that these value statements are specifically for thinking around the experience of downtown Rolesville. Well, we already have a vision statement for who Rolesville is. We know where we want to go. But thinking about how we want to experience downtown Rolesville, creating a vision statement that sort of serves as your guiding star, your guiding principle to walk you through. So some of the things I heard were around restaurants. We want really nice, great food. We want diversity. We want to include everyone. We're family focused. We want it to be safe. We want to think of our public servants. How do we keep people here? Thinking around our gateway to town, accepting technology, commitment to quality. Lots of conversations around the social place, the gathering place, office space, recreation, holiday town, fireworks, things to do, places to shop. So this is a lot of what was coming up in that conversation as well. So what I did, I created this quickly. So this was quick. So this is really, I think we also want to reiterate that the goal is not to finalize in this moment. We really just want to make sure we're gathering from you what you want to communicate, what your vision statement should communicate. We're going to take all the input that we receive in this conversation and actually create it, but I don't want us to get too caught up in some of the words or anything super specific. But I want, we would like to get this initial reaction from you all. What's really resonating with you? What's maybe something that you're like, absolutely not. That doesn't need to be shared. And maybe that's a good place. Let's keep tweaking that. So that's really what we're asking for.
So maybe read each one sequentially, and then we'll go back and get comments on each one, so you can see all of them.
So value statement 1 is downtown Rolesville will serve as the gathering space for residents and visitors from all walks of life to enjoy engaging activities, local stores and boutiques, and quality restaurants that draw people to the charm of Rolesville. Value statement 2, downtown Rolesville will attract residents and visitors through a diverse range of activities, including quality restaurants, unique local shops, and engaging social places to invite all to celebrate our small town charm. And then value statement 3 is downtown Rolesville will be a welcoming social hub where residents and visitors come together to enjoy engaging activities, unique local shops, and quality restaurants celebrating our small town charm. So there's similarity, but also some differences that we're seeing. So.
ChatGPT did that.
Which one?
Well, first I want to say thank you. We've learned over the years it's better to just keep something to react to. So I'm just going to ask.
Sorry, she had a question.
Yeah, I was going to ask, yeah. So,
well, one thing is the value statement, shouldn't we be writing it in the present like it's what we are? Because isn't that our values and the vision is sort of the future where we want to go? And I say it because I think I love this idea of the value statement because I think ultimately when it's written, it should drive a lot of decisions for the future of our town. And so like this week, downtown local is a welcoming social hub or restaurant decision. So then when decisions are being made for the future, it's like, what's our value? Oh yeah, that aligns with our value.
So making it present tense.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it good. Got my camera.
Any other thoughts? Oh, yeah, raise your hand. You can just go.
I'm not a fan of the word gathering, right? Now, it's just mostly because gathering seems like, oh, I'm coming for an event. We gather for Christmas, we gather for Thanksgiving, versus attract residents or a destination for residents and visitors, right? It's something that says you come in, but you don't have to be here every day. It's not a gathering, it's not an event. That's my opinion.
So the word you like is destination?
You use, attract residents, destination for residents and visitors. You use a couple different words. The gathering is the only one that I'm not, doesn't make me happy.
You don't like to get
Gathering feels like we're to have a gathering, right? Like, okay, that means there's an event that's planned.
I would like to see the word appeal and substituted for the word charm. Because appeal draws you more. Charm is just, appeal.
It's what here? It's what?
It's just charm. It's clear fingers, and I don't have a problem with that. But you want to appeal. You want Rolesville to be appealing. You know what I'm saying? You want to be attractive to it, not just something that you're looking at. Saying, yeah, that's kind of cool over there. Yeah, that thing over there is charming, right? No, I want to be appealing.
That's good. Back here, Claudia, you got that look.
No, I'm just listening.
People come to places for experience.
Well,
that's experience. Engage activities. Experience, but
it's like the new thing. The young generation wants to spend money on experiences.
the way you market nowadays, especially in sales one-on-one, is you talk about the experience, the transaction process.
All right. Jen?
I like it. I like
Oh, you
it.
like it?
Yeah, I like it.
The creative three again.
So downtown Rolesville will be a welcoming social hub where residents and visitors come together to enjoy engaging experiences. Local, unique local shops and quality restaurants celebrating our small town appeal.
The other question I would have would be on social. Right, again, is it necessarily social, or is it anything, right?
But we're talking strictly about downtown though, right?
No, I understand that particular piece, but I'm not necessarily going shopping on a social basis. Right, I mean, there'll be restaurants. Well, again, but it narrows down potentially what you're saying is the hub.
Right.
It could be social and what, you know, but I would just, you could just take social out. Okay, well, you
Make a hub here. Less is more than.
I agree, Steve. Look at you,
Yes, all right. President Taps got that.
Chad Z's got it. He's correcting this on the fly.
Because we have parties and McDonald's have what called quality with the restaurants. I think this should be like, but I think just make it restaurants. I mean, just restaurants.
How do people feel about that?
Quality,
Yeah.
that's very subjective too, it's quality.
Yeah, one person's quality is another person's.
Yeah.
It's so wild.
What about diverse? What about diverse?
How's that?
You know, that encompasses fast food and Ludwig's, a place where you can use a knife. And napkins.
So downtown Rolesville is a welcoming hub where residents and visitors come together to enjoy engaging experiences, unique local shops, and diverse restaurants celebrating our small town appeal.
Rob Mike. I mean, this is a starting point.
Yeah, it is. The only other word in there I get from the government social welcoming hub, right? Is there another word that we should use for hub? That would be more.
Districts.
District.
What don't you like about the word?
There's nothing wrong with the word hub in itself.
No, I mean, in this context.
No. Nothing wrong, but I think the word to be hub is fine. But is there another word that you use that's very similar to hub that potentially broadens out, you know, district, locale, community?
Core, heart.
Right, there's a ton of, like, she's going over the citizens.
Got cat spinning.
She's already got it written down. She didn't need the phone for the story, you noticed that, right? Yeah. Yeah, it already going on.
Yeah, let's take it one more time, Daniel.
So again, starting place, we'll take it and work through it. But downtown Roseville is a welcoming social district, locale community, where residents come together to enjoy engaging experiences, unique local shops, and diverse restaurants celebrating our small town.
I love those last words. It's a whole lot of work.
Fire. The diverse restaurants celebrating our small town appeal is.
I think community instead of hub really work well.
You like it? Community is better for folks?
Still block. What's the missing? What's the missing? So what's the?
That's part of it. I think we got spirit.
We need to put some JV on
That was really the last stage of our program today. We said we'd be done by 8:30. And the mayor says,
You guys done?
yes, sir.
I'll close it, I'll close this out, everybody can get home, maybe a little bit early. I do want to thank Fountain Works, appreciate you guys, a lot of work. Thank you guys very much for that, for sure, and thank you, staff, for the turnout for staff here, we know they've been working hard, putting this together, so I want to thank them too. Before I say any comments, I'll first see if any of the boards want to have comments. So the RDA, President Sheila, any closing comments you want to say?
I am so thankful for this opportunity. I think this is important that we continue to collaborate at this level like this. I do want to get a plug in though. We know there's a text amendment coming up on the downtown townhomes, and we want to make sure that we get to speak at that meeting and know in advance when that's coming out in January. But oh, we want to propose one.
Oh, I got it.
Yes. But I appreciate this collaboration. I know that there's a lot of staff here that are paid to be here, but I know majority in this room are volunteers. So thank you all for caring about your community and coming together to make a difference and make a better Rolesville for us all. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And I think Mike Moss, you the chair of the thankful, you closing comments?
That's just good to see all boards and staff come together and work on something that'll help the town moving forward and hopefully help downtown thrive and prosper in the future.
And thank you guys for serving, all of you, like the Shooting Cities knows. You don't make a whole lot of money, serving these people. So really thank you for that, but I know December 31st, end of the year, some of you are having to roll out because of tournaments, I think, maybe, I'm not sure if anybody has to or not, but we will be taking applications up to December, the first meeting in December, what is that, around the 2nd?
I think it's till November 30th.
Okay, November 30th, so get, you want to be on the end of the board, make sure you get your application in. Even if you serve it, make sure you get your application in, because, you have to do that. And then the committees will be looking at it during the month of December, and the board will take action on January, first meeting in January, so I'll have a full board, January. So thank you for serving, and make sure you do that.
So I'm sorry, is that in motion now? I'm sorry, Mayor. Is that in motion now? Like people can apply now?
Yeah.
And is that online?
Yes.
It's online? Yes. Thank you.
I want to make a couple of comments. I just want to, the board is going out, thank Paul for his work, 8 years. We've got some things accomplished, I think. And I was just looking at the last 2 years, the board's run for 2 years, but we had election for 2 years, the board members changed. So just real quick, a few things I think we got achieved that was substantial work in the last 2 years. One was the fire department. That was a real big deal. We worked on it for 5 years, and the guys have done. We did get a 55 and over community. I think it's 505 units there. I think it's still on go in stock. So that was a big thing. One of the things that we got accomplished within 2 years. We started 2 years with family community and came in. Senior citizens activities with Park and Rec, that was a big one. Park and Rec did a good job of picking up some of that. That was one of the things, we were looking at 2 years ago to try to improve Parks and Rec. Did that. We improved the Joel Center. That was a big one. That was one of the goals that we kind of set for ourselves to do last 2 years, and we got that accomplished. Another thing that we had in the thing, I think came from Sheila and some of the others that was on the board prior to meeting 2 years ago, was the affordable housing plan. So we got an affordable housing plan along with Habitat. Community was approved. That was something that I've been working on, well, I don't know how long, but quite a long time. Even some things on here date back to the former Mayor Frank Eagles. Some of the things that he was kind of spearheading, we finally got on the ground and completed. One was cobblestone. You know, that one was opened up. Ian is sharing the glory up here in cobblestone. That was a big achievement. I know Sheila and myself, we remember recruiting Wall Creek, or Wall Brook, it's called them, Wall Creek. That was done within the 4 years and ago, so you know, we got that done. We got that here for sure. And then Main Street Division, I didn't realize it, but you gave the number, Michael gave a number, 2017, I think you said? Was that when?
2018.
2018, that's when it was approved, so that was 7 years ago. You know, and you know, that's taking place now. We get some negative comments on the way of the design and stuff, but you know, we went through all this process just like we're doing now with people coming in, making comments, and all the businesses had a chance to make comments. We paid out a lot of money to a lot of businesses for, you know, for the terms that they lost and those type of things. So, you know, all that's been accomplished, but it was probably done many, many years ago. But now we're seeing the results of it. But that was a big achievement that we got that opened up, and I think we'll get that finished in the next 6 months, hopefully. So what is the board going to do this year? So as you know, as a committee, you think about what is the board doing? Well, you know, a lot of people say we don't do anything. And you know, there's always negative comments out there about, they see the board as only approving things and rubber stamp and stuff, but the board works a lot harder on stuff than that, put a lot of effort in. So some of the achievements that we want to try to do next year, we'll continue to work on anyway, and it's four categories. The first one I'll mention, I think this will help benefit everybody, you know, being able to kind of understand what's important to the board. Legislative, town services, economic development, and staff project direction is the four main things. Number one is legislative, which is on, you know, we need to get it in our CIP, have it established on CIP, all the commissioners on board with it. And as it's talked about a lot tonight, is the downtown. The downtown zoning, parking, stormwater, all that has to be done to create a downtown that we kind of envision here. That's going to be a big thing for the board, is to kind of work with the staff to get that downtown zoning. With parking, if you don't have parking, you can't have downtown. So, that's a big thing for us. And you know, the board, you know, Eric is aware of all these things the board, you know, wants to work on, and fully supports them too. A senior citizen center. We don't have that in the CIP, so the next 2 years we're going to get that in the CIP, work with our consultant for financial, and see if we can, how we can get that in there to have a senior. I think we're one of the only towns in Wayne County that don't have one, and it hurts us a lot in a lot of things we want to do. We talked about the third one on the legislative, which requires the board, you know, doing a lot of action to get done. The third one is a watershed. We talked about that. That's a messy thing. Frank Eagles worked on that for his whole time, and I worked on that, and we're making a little progress, I feel like, with Raleigh, but long ways. So that's the three things the legislative we want to try to accomplish. Watershed may be very difficult, and we haven't done it so far. Town services, the three things in town services. One that Frank worked on a lot, I continue to work on, we continue to work really hard on, is a U.S. Post Office serves all citizens. You know, we want a post office, standalone post office that serves all the citizens. We worked on that a long time. That would be a great accomplishment if we can make some progress in the next 2 years on that. Local veteran services, you know, a lot of veterans are here in town that doesn't have the services, they have to go to Durham a lot of times. We got a new place coming in that maybe we can, you know, improve the services there. The third one, I hope is a done deal, is Wake County Public Library.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's a done deal, so that may be the easiest one, that may be the easiest one on this list to achieve in the next 2 years. The Wake County Public Library, they say it's 28, keep saying it's 27.
27, last time.
So
I'll ask tomorrow, let you know.
All right. That'd be great, we get the Wake County Public Library open in 2 years, so that's,
We'll break the ground.
if it's really close, we've achieved a lot. And Frank worked on that, bless his heart, for 12 years, and it's been a long coming. Economic development. Guess what? The first one on our list for economic development. Restaurants and new retail. You know, we talk about that a lot. You know, that's the kind of thing we want to improve. I know downtown is improvement. There's nowhere in town to buy tennis shoes. Huh? I didn't know that. But we really do need some retail, you know, more retail we need, and that's something that we all need to work on. I think that's some passion. The other economic development, I think it's pretty solid, is the Wake County, the Wake Med Emergency Center. I think that's pretty solid. Board's got to take some action to make that happen. I think got some transportation issues that Eric and I are working on with our transportation engineer to make sure it all, you know, works good out there. The third one that we talked about, and it came up in here some, which when I first tell people, they don't, what is that? And we kind of want to promote or try to recruit a new professional center. So what is a professional center? It's sort of like a shop. You think, what is a shopping center? Shopping center sells stuff, right? Professional center is more like services, professional services like attorneys. We did ban so attorneys and you know, CPAs and you know, offices and stuff, you know, just professional offices. And I think there's a couple of those that's kind of Michael been talking to people, so this one may be really doable, but we want to make sure as a town we're trying to get. Right now, you can take you know, some of the stock places, the financial places, you know, they shopping centers. So you don't argue those in shopping centers. A lot of them want to be. I think Eric, you see, you know, 5 professional businesses that want to be in a professional center, not a shopping center. So, you know, I think that's kind of one of the things we want to make happen. As somebody said, it doesn't matter if it's a 2-story or, you know, long shop, you know, long professional. They make professional centers all different ways. That's one of the things the board is looking at. And then the last thing has to do with staff priority. Kind of what the board is looking for the staff to make sure the next 2 years is a high priority. And the first one is a town campus, you know, fire department, the police department, the site plan, the Veterans Park, I think we call it now, the Veterans Park out there with the site plan. We want all that done, you know, in the next 2 years. Eric mentioned this earlier. The second one on the board's achievement list is the activation of the park. We got $12 million budget that Eric, I think we did $20 million total from some other places and stuff. But we want that, you know, we want that in the next 2 years. And then the last one that we thought we had a done deal on, and then it fell through and all, was the community center. You know, the community center was solid at one time, and then it fell through, and we don't have one still. So right now it's kind of slated to go into go where the campus was, and the only reason it goes into campus, we had nowhere else to put it. I mean, the ideal fell through going with cobblestone, supposed to be cobblestone. So it ended up in the campus, but I want us to nail that down, you know. And we won't be building anything, but I want to nail down is where it's going to be and what it's going to be and that kind of thing. So it's kind of floating out there right now. It being envisioned to be in the campus. That may be where it ends up, but I want to make sure it's at the right place for them. So those are the 12 things. I hope we can accomplish some of them in the next 2 years. But it takes, you know, everybody working together for that. And I think everybody's on board. I see a lot of nods, but I think that's a good, that'd be a good thing that the board can work on probably for the next 2 years. So with that, yes.
Can I ask a question on the community centers, food for thought, right? There's a lot of things for the town to take on, a lot of things that will be costly for the town to take on. Is there, kind of like I did with the Joel Center for the veterans, is there a way to partner with some sort of nonprofit that provides not only a community center, but maybe a senior center, and it can be brought together in some form? Is there thought of maybe going out and just finding that instead of?
Yeah, you talking about a community center, you talking about a community center, not the senior citizens.
Well, maybe there's a way it can be combined in some space in the end, but bringing the Joel Center here, you know.
Yeah, there's a way.
To help it faster, right, in a sense.
Yeah, there's a way to do that, and I think with the park, we are kind of looking at some of those concepts of combining with some private, right? Right. Yeah. I think we are looking at that. So really the design of our center, community center, you know, when she was on board, that we was talking about, was sort of like I'll describe the combo. It was a basketball court facility, plus it was a Renaissance thing in Lake Forest facility, kind of a combo that you can play basketball in, but it'd be just as nice as the Renaissance. Who have been to the Renaissance in Lake Forest? It'd be just as nice as the Renaissance in Lake Forest. I think we had it about the same size, which, you know, had 150, 200 people to gather there. That's what this community center was about. And I think, you know, whether we partner with somebody or not, you make money off the, I'm hearing they don't make money off the Renaissance Center in Wake Forest, but it does turn some income back where it's not completely worth money.
Well, it brings people to the town, right? So that they're shopping and eating and doing those things in the town, and they're coming from other places as well, so yeah.
So we have hit the witching hour. So with that, any comments?
Just a simple question. Are we working with the post office to get everybody who's annexed to Rolesville to have a Rolesville address?
No, they won't work with us.
It's so complicated. It's a very complicated web of lies, which is.
It's just like downtown Main Street.
No, I mean, seriously, the posting thing it's going to take a dedicated, we have to have a dedicated postmaster. And then we have people in different sizes of the aisle, all operating to try to get us unified under our zip codes. And Bud hasn't been able to do it, Senator Ross has not been able to do it, Tillis has not been able to do it, and doggone it, we need somebody to help.
We need a second board.
Yeah, we need somebody to spit fire down to help us.
Yeah, there's two occasions where there was, one and then one parallel kind of, that with, in Lumberton. Yeah, but there's two occasions where there was chief in the last 10 years in North Carolina, and both of them came by way of executive order from the administration. And so that's something that, I had a conversation with a lobbyist, conversation with a lobbyist about 2 weeks ago. I was bringing up, I keep my little short list, you know, at least 1, 2, 3. And that's one of those things the amount of community engagement and agreement that has to be achieved to get it done the manual way, like everyone has to say yes. And that's a lot of people. And so if we would spend countless dollars to get people to open their mail and not throw it out, let alone get them to sign a piece of paper.
And send it back.
So
Them changing their licenses, them changing on the carpet, like it's a whole thing that on the experience end that a lot of people shy away from. But the executive order washes all that through and activates it.
So if you got contacts in Washington that you can help give executive order or do it. But anyway, so any other folks, have a good night. I do appreciate it. Thank everybody for coming out. We do. And anything else closing there?
No, I'm just thinking, I mean, the better, the more y'all work, the more y'all talk, the more y'all collaborate, the easier it is for us to be able to just run with the business y'all put on paper. So we thank y'all. We are here as a byproduct of y'all's community, and we just thank y'all.
All right, so without opposition.
One thing, Mr. Mayor, before we get ready to close, I think it's important that when there's so much negative rhetoric online about what we do, we have to do a very good job, staff, of telling our story. We can't let the narratives of negativity be what tells Rolesville's story. So we all have to be, as part of these different parties, obviously row in the same direction, is let's not let someone else tell our story. So we need better communication to the community, we need better marketing about what we do, but it's important that we tell our story at the same time. That's my two cents.
Thank you. So without any opposition, the meeting is adjourned.